couple with a brick, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A at the DNVR bar. The A stands for a lot of questions to get to today. We've got a lot of catching up to do, so we're going mailbag episode today. And this episode is presented by MSU Denver Online. Check them out, msudenver.edu/online. To see all they have to offer. 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs, and there's no better place to get an education if you're looking to maintain a full-time job, because MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So let me just tell you how this is going to work, guys. First of all, I have a take that we're going to get to. Then we're going to get to questions from the website. I don't know if we're going to have time to get to questions in the chat today. We're just strapped for time. We have a big meeting after this. So unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get to live chat comments. Of course, we encourage you guys to chat with each other in there. But I guess what I'm saying is save your money on a super chat today. Save it for another day.
You won't do that often.
I won't do that often. But I want to be honest with the people. I don't think we're going to have time for that. So I want to start with you here, Zach, and I guess I didn't give you a chance to say your signature intro.
My boy, Ryan, what's up?
Well, not much.
Except...
I've had a lot of time to process this now, as the Broncos are going to roll with Teddy Bridgewater to be their starting quarterback. And let me just start by saying, I don't think it's the wrong decision. In fact, it doesn't mean I'm all over it. I think it's, but... I guess what I'm saying is I understand their decision.
Me too. And I think it was the right one for Vic Fangio, and he was the one making the call.
And he's the one making the call. Yep. Exactly. What I don't understand is the way it was presented, Zach.
I don't like it either.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Look, I realize you're trying to protect Drew, and you kind of feel like, they're definitely internally fighting with themselves about, are we stunting his growth? And I think they are. But again, you made the decision to win now, or I don't even like that term, but
win
just
better now.
Yeah, have a higher chance of winning
right
in week one is really what this came down to. But then you go out there with this like lukewarm endorsement of Teddy Bridgewater to an already fragile fan base who doesn't agree with you. 82% of people wanted Drew Lock.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make sense to me that you didn't go and make a declarative, we looked at all the tape, we looked at every practice play, we looked at everything, and we believe that Teddy is the best starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos right now. Like, that's something where I can say, like, yes, there you go. Like, you believe in your statement, you believe in your decision. What we got was, well, it was a tough decision, but we just had to make a decision, so we went with Teddy. You basically said we flipped a coin.
And then on top of that, Ryan, they really wanted to protect Drew, which I commend them for, but then there was no follow-up of Teddy is fantastic. Look at what he did in those games. He's done that in practice. You should see all the behind-the-scenes stuff he does. There was none of that. It was just, look how much Drew's improved. Drew's going to be a very good starting quarterback in this league sometime. Not for the Broncos, by the way, Vic Fangio's words. In this league sometime. And then Pat Shurmur said, I hope everyone gets to see, or I hope everyone's noticed the tremendous improvement that Drew Lock has made. And it just makes fans go,
yeah, we have.
we're supposed to get behind Teddy, even though you're saying all these good things about Drew. So I really think that they're doing a good job and really wanted to show Drew, look, we're so proud of the hard work you've done. But Ryan, this is a win or lose league, right? And
yes.
And they're telling us Teddy gives us the best chance to win, yet we're hearing all these good things about the backup now. I agree with you. It's the right decision, but they're making Drew seem like the better quarterback.
Right. That's the thing. It's like you had a checklist, like announce starting quarterback, build up Drew, build up Teddy, and then you just forgot step 3. Right. Like, I didn't hear any glowing remarks about Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy's leadership. What do you say? Dribs and drabs?
Yeah, there's been dribs and drabs of it.
What the hell does that mean?
I thought it was a reference to Solace Meds. I thought that was something you get there.
Oh, my God. I was like, what do you mean, dribs and drabs? We don't even know what that means. I wanted to hear a declarative, ironclad, this is why Teddy Bridgewater's the starter.
Yep.
We love Drew. We believe in Drew. We think he did a great job, but Teddy did it better.
Yep.
We didn't hear that. How can you not say that?
And then you can add what they said after about how the strides Drew has made, but Teddy has also made strides, and that you believe you have 2 starting quarterbacks on your roster, but Teddy's the better one.
Yes.
It's just a bad look for a fan base that's wasn't just divided, Ryan. I mean, they were wanting the backup, and now you say good things about the backup, and people are going, you're either lying to us, which I think they are a little bit, again, to be nice to Drew, or what the heck are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's just mess. I don't know. It's like messy and disorganized is what it feels like to me.
And Ryan, it's going to be even messier if Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater play on Saturday, which Vic Fangio says they both are, and Teddy does worse than Drew. Then it's going to be way messier. And by the way, I mean, that's a whole nother storm. The starters should not be playing. Cortland Sutton's playing. Von Miller's playing as of right now, according to Vic Fangio. Melvin Gordon's likely going to play. You have all of these guys that are going to make their preseason debut in the 3rd game, the final preseason game. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those guys, Ryan, don't actually play. But if they do and the starting offense is going out there for a few quarters, oh boy, I don't like that one bit.
I don't like it. I don't like it either. I don't like the way they set this up. I don't like the starters playing. My guess is that Vic is saying all these things to then like almost play like good guy to the players at the end and be like, actually, I'm gonna give you guys the game off.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I hope
so too, because you're right. Let's say Teddy goes out there and just goes like 3 and out or something, and they're like, okay, that's the one drive. Or they're like, okay, we'll give you one more drive, and they punt again.
And it's a pick or something.
Or anything like that. I'll touch wood. I don't want it to happen. And then Drew goes out there and carves them up. You're going to have a mutiny on your hands.
Oh, my gosh. I would never say this outside of here. Vic, play scared this weekend. Play scared about your quarterback decision looking bad, and play scared about not wanting your star players to get hurt.
Yeah.
Play scared in this last preseason game, then don't do it the rest of the season. Go for it on 4th and 5 the rest of the season.
You're playing scared. That's what the preseason's all about. Just ask Sean McVay who they're going up against this week.
Yep.
I always said if I was a coach, none of my stars would play in the preseason.
All right, Sean. It's a good. I get behind you.
And that's starting to become a thing. Okay, the question on the headline of the show is, do we agree with the Denver Broncos' reasoning for starting Teddy Bridgewater? My problem with answering the question is, what was even the reason? They haven't really given us one.
Drew kind of hinted at it yesterday. In fact, when Drew asked, what could I have done better? He said what we left it at as was it was very close. What Vic told him was it was very close, and maybe just experience was that final step. So experience, according to just trying to parse the little things together.
I mean, I guess that happens in the real world. If you got 2 job candidates, they're both exact same on paper, except one has 4 more years of experience. That's probably going to end up being the tiebreaker.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. But again, Ryan, just come out and say, look what Teddy did. He was consistent. Because Teddy showed it to the world on the 2 preseason games that he could be the better quarterback. And Vic could sell that. Just say that. Sell Teddy just like you sold him after the game.
If he had said the tiebreaker was passer rating,
right,
I would have been like, fine,
okay, good, there was something.
Give me something. But I guess the reasoning is experience. You have a veteran team. You have a lot of guys on contract deals. You are kind of in a win now mode. I wouldn't even say you're in a win now window, but you're kind of forced to be win now when your back's up against the wall as a coach. Like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with the decision. In fact, I think it was kind of hard. If it was me, it's not the decision I would have made.
Right.
But I understand how you would make the decision to go with Teddy. I'm not one of those people saying, this is an awful decision. Vic will be fired by week 3.
Right.
It's actually the opposite of that to me. I'm like, well, I don't think Vic's getting fired now,
Right.
So it's weird. I just wish they would have praised him a little more. All right.
And Ryan, this leads perfectly into our comment section to get into the mailbag. And this first one comes in talking about this competition from Shat Permer. It says, my boys, let's be real. This was never truly a competition. In the offseason, they tried to replace Drew with Stafford, etc. As soon as Teddy was signed, the writing was on the wall for Drew. He improved his progression, stopped the turnovers, did everything that was asked of him, and he still didn't win the, quote, competition. Vic should have said TB was the QB1 from the get-go and give him the team the best chance to succeed. I feel like he was waiting for Drew to lose the job somehow versus Seahawks before naming Teddy. Well, here we are now on the quarterback carousel once more. What a ride.
Yeah, and there has been some like revisionist history about this right now. Is like everyone was like anti Drew Lock for like 12 weeks last year.
Yeah.
Then he trends up a little bit, wins, I don't know, maybe 10% of people back over.
Yep.
And then no one wanted Drew Lock throughout the whole offseason.
Yep.
They, people were Team Stafford, Team Watson, Team Rodgers.
Team Justin.
Right. And then you get into a quarterback battle. Everyone forgets everything they ever knew.
Yeah.
And people are saying, like, Drew has the higher ceiling or whatever and all this stuff. But it's like, yeah, but I don't know if that's the way coaches make decisions. It might be the way front office people make decisions. Yeah. But I just feel like, our friend Nick Kendall yesterday tweeted, it's not Vic Fangio's fault he didn't choose the quarterback that you built up Drew Lock to be in your head to be the starting quarterback. And I was like, oh, that's really spicy the way you framed it. Yeah. But it's not necessarily wrong.
Right. And I think the revisionist history point's really great point.
Yeah, so I get it. Like, what people want in Broncos country is something to believe in.
Yeah.
And they don't really feel like Teddy gives them that. And I am so understanding of that. I'm right there with them.
Yep.
But again, Vic Fangio's not looking for something to believe in. He's looking for wins.
That's so sad. He's not looking for something to believe in.
He's not. I think he's past that part of his life. So it's just it's an odd dynamic. I don't know if there's ever been a situation like this where over 80% of a fan base wants a certain guy to be the quarterback and someone else wins the job.
Tebow and Orton maybe, and then you saw Tebow get in there not too short after.
Yeah, that's a good one. But was Tebow like really? Was that a quarterback competition?
I don't think so.
Remember it that way.
People just wanted him, and the coaches said, "No way,
like,
is this a competition?"
Like, you guys don't understand. You can't throw the ball. And then he made magic, and it was amazing. Yep. So yeah, I forget where I was going with that, but
you made a good point.
Thank you.
In the process of forgetting.
I mean, the question was along the lines of that it was always about Teddy.
Right.
I don't think that's the case. I just think that Drew, well, in the fans' mind, this is going to be a good one. In the fans' mind, Drew was starting with a 10-point lead because he was younger and higher potential and gave them something to believe in. I think in Vic Fangio's mind, he was starting with a 10-point deficit because he saw bad Drew last year.
Right. It's a great point, and that brings up one thing really quick that I have to get to. A lot of people think that Drew might be traded or something like that. And this isn't to your point yesterday. I thought your point yesterday was great about him playing and potentially being traded. But teams aren't rushing to trade a first-round pick for Drew Lock.
No.
I mean, so, and I think fans kind of lose sight of that, talking about your revisionist history thing.
I mean, you just said he's not the starter, which is a massive blow to his trade value in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think the best you could probably do is recoup the pick you traded away for Teddy Bridgewater.
Right, yeah. And Mace isn't watching the show, or isn't with us, but he's watching the show. He said it was never a competition with Orton and Tebow.
Okay.
It was Orton the entire time.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the next question here from VR, though. It says, glad the Broncos decided to rely on the old saying, quote, fortune favors the safe to make this decision.
People aren't going to agree with this.
No, I mean...
84% is what you said?
Yeah, it ended up being, I think, 82% in the most recent poll. It's a tough sell. I'll say what I've been saying. They win week 1.
Yeah.
It's a big swing in the momentum. They win week 2. Most people have come aboard on the Teddy Bridgewater train. They win week 3. You've got the fan base in the palm of your hand. Now you got to keep it going.
You win one of the next 2, though? You're 4-1?
Yeah.
Beating Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh or Baltimore at home?
People are...
You good?
Yes, exactly. People are on board now. Again, there's no secret sauce here. When you're winning, everyone loves you. When you're losing, everyone hates you. There's nothing in between.
Yep.
But so you got to keep it rolling. But people, all anyone wants around here is the Broncos to win.
Yep.
So if you do it, it'll be easy. And someone yesterday pointed out, I forget who it was on Twitter, Teddy Bridgewater has won over fans everywhere he's went.
That's true.
This is now his biggest challenge.
Yep, without a doubt.
Because he's not like the likable backup like he was, I think, in New York.
Yep.
Did he start there?
Maybe a game or two.
He wasn't the starter. Then he goes and he's like the season saver in New Orleans. That was easy.
Yeah.
Then he's kind of the starter. Like as soon as he gets to Carolina, he's the starter. Everyone gets behind him. I don't think they ended up like adoring him. No one has anything bad to say about him. Obviously, Minnesota, everyone, they give him a standing ovation at practice.
Yeah.
So everyone loves him everywhere he's gone. This is definitely his biggest task because he's starting way against the curve.
You're so right. Next one from T Meek says, "Hey fellas, great job covering training camp and can't wait for the regular season. Now that the quarterback decision has been made, how do each of you feel these potential quarterbacks would have done against Locke in this year's competition?" All right, say who would have won, Locke or these people? Andy Dalton in a quarterback competition.
I think he's like the same as Teddy Bridgewater.
So you say Dalton.
Yeah.
I say Drew. Gardner Minshew.
Gardner.
I say Minshew as well. Fitzpatrick. Yep. Trubisky.
Drew.
Because of Vic, I think Trubisky. And Jacoby Brissett.
Drew.
I say Drew as well. He says, "Thanks for all you do and go Broncos." Love that question, T Meeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I'm basing it off of the coaching staff.
Right.
Not what I would do.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you're basically saying like these guys who are in the Teddy Bridgewater ilk or Drew Lock, and we have the evidence to say they like that guy better.
Yep, we do.
All right, before we get to a bunch more questions, I want to tell you about our friends over at Hassel Cattle Company. DNVR bar's open right now. You can come down here and get a Hassel Cattle Wagyu burger.
It's popping too.
It is popping. We've got a bunch of new recipes, I guess you would call it, for the burgers. There's one that has hatch green chilies and onion rings and barbecue
cheese.
sauce. Then there's one that's cream cheese and green chili. There's some other I can't even remember all the new ones. Then of course, I could go down that path about the new menu because I'm obsessed with it. But
you could even just go with the Hassel burger and a bun. I would put the toppings on, but if you just stick with the basics, it's still going to be delicious.
I saw Kale do that yesterday.
Yep.
So the burgers are insanely good.
Yeah.
You got to come down here and try them out. And if you can't come down here and try them out, you can always order some Hassel Cattle straight to your door and use the code DNVR10 to get 10% off. Plus, you'll get free shipping if you make an order over $200. Trust me, you're going to want $200 of this ground beef, steaks, sausages. They're all off the chain.
And I'm just going to beat around the bush and hit it to you straight. Get a job at Ball. I mean, they are a great place to work, and they are hiring right now. They have a Culture of Belonging Index by the Human Rights Campaign that gives them a corporate equity index score of 100%, meaning that they take anyone with any background, and they are extremely inclusive. That's a place you want to work. On top of it, they're doing great things. They're very sustainable. That's what they're focused on, and they're hiring for their 400-person production plant here in Golden. And here's how you get a job. Text GOLDEN to 77222. That's GOLDEN to 77222. Or go to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. You can also check them out at #WorkAtBall online, of course. And Ryan, get yourself a job down at Ball.
All right. Of course, also, if you want to get your questions read on this show, you can become a member at thednvr.com. You can also read all of our content. You'll get deals here at the bar. I could go on and on and on, but we got questions to get to. So, from T Meeks, "Hey, fellas, great job covering training camp and can't wait for the regular season."
Next one. Sorry to cut you off. Next question. We just got T Meeks.
Oh, my bad.
I can get a T Woods 16.
T Meeks, T Woods. What's the
true.
difference?
I knew. I was confusing. He says, "Not gonna lie, my guy's kind of frustrated. I knew Vic was gonna name Teddy the starter from the start, and just wasted his time by splitting him and Drew. Also, if it was really that close, I feel like Peyton should have told Vic to go with Drew. My DraftKings pick of the week is Melvin Gordon over for receptions. Let the boring football begin. I just hope we win. tired of this same BS every year. Thank you for letting me rant. I love and appreciate y'all. Go Broncos and go Teddy. And Ryan, this reminds me of something you said about if the team just wins. When people look back at the 2015 Broncos team, they don't think about how anemic the offense was and how boring the offense was. They think about a Super Bowl, and they think about the number 1 seed in the AFC West.
They sure do. In the AFC, yeah. And I'm excited for Teddy to have an opportunity to prove some of these narratives wrong. There's a narrative that he can't push the ball down the field. Well, he pushed the ball down the field at a better rate than Drew Lock last year.
Yeah.
There is...
And arguably in training camp, too.
Right. There is, a narrative that he only checks it down. He's too safe, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see him go out there and play.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I don't know if he played too many of those narratives in training camp or even in the games that we've seen him play. I haven't thought to myself, like, man, he's really just doing the easy thing.
Check down.
Yeah, like I can think of multiple times where he's pushed the ball a little bit. I know Tim yesterday said over 22 yards. Maybe not that far so far in preseason, but he did do it in training camp. So I think he has a great opportunity here to show people that they're wrong. The one that that keeps stopping me from allowing myself to get hyped about Teddy Bridgewater is the touchdowns.
And how can you not?
He doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, 15 is the most. And not a bold take, but I'm going to make it a bold take. He has more than that this year.
He's gotta. I mean, he's just gotta.
Yes.
And he's got amazing weapons around him. He should have the opportunity to do so. So, the other one thing that I wanted to bring up about Teddy, and I'm just emptying the chamber on my Teddy Bridgewater stats that I wanted to come. Did you see the stat from Warren Sharp about the defenses that he faced last year?
Oh, about how they were the best pass defenses.
Yes. From all quarterbacks ranked against the pass defenses they faced, Teddy faced the hardest schedule of pass defenses this year. Now, this is projecting a little bit, and obviously teams change, but based on last year's numbers, the Broncos are scheduled to face the easiest schedule in terms of pass defenses in the NFL. If that's something that you're looking, if you're looking for reasons to get excited, that's a great one.
And on
Sharp's rankings aren't based off of last year; they're based off of Vegas projections.
Okay, there you
Love
go.
it. Even better, potentially. And on top of that, he was without Christian McCaffrey, his biggest offensive weapon. He's got weapons all over the field this year. So another reason to be hopeful.
Yeah, I think hopeful is the right word, or cautiously optimistic. I've been telling everyone I'm in show-me mode with this team, and I feel the same way now as I did then. But if you're looking for reasons to be optimistic, you can find them.
Yeah, you're right. Brodus Tidgewater checks in and says, "Hey, my guys, been a while since I've commented, but I want to keep this succinct." You didn't really. 1, congrats to Tiger Teddy for winning the job. Now let's see what he can do with these weapons. Agree. 2, I thought Drew handled the press conference like a real pro. I couldn't agree more. He says, "I still believe he has a lot of potential. Definitely strings for him and his supporters, including myself. I've been thinking lately this may not be the worst thing for him. As Tim and Mace said, this is probably the first time he wasn't naturally just better than his peers and possibly the first real challenge that he's had in football. However, Teddy has had his setbacks, and he's a good example of perseverance and fortitude. I think Drew has an opportunity to learn a lot right here that he can still come back from this setback." Totally agree. And 3, he says, I'll keep this short, "I think one thing a lot of Broncos country is overlooking is the pre-snap stuff and Teddy's ability to diagnose what the defense is doing. So while their production on the field may have been very close, I think Drew can definitely learn from Teddy and coaching in this area. We even saw Peyton replace Brock for the Super Bowl when PFM's brain was more important than physical ability for the team at that time." Sorry for the long comment. Looking forward to the season. Thanks for the great coverage as always, and thank you for the comment.
Gotta love when someone starts with "I'll keep this short" and ends with "sorry for the long comment." So yesterday when we were asking Tim, what does he do? What are some of the things that Teddy does really well? The first thing he said was he gets the team into the right run play. That was like music to my ears. He was saying, like, people won't get excited over this. I got real excited over that. That is how you have a good running game. Yeah. Obviously, you need a line and you need the back. But we saw last year, the line isn't changing much from what it was last year. The backs are changing a little bit, but you still feel really good about the backs. The combination of Drew and Lloyd being 2 really young guys in a brand new offense, I felt like hindered the run game a little bit, and they didn't have that ability to get into the right run plays as well as they could. Drew got better over the season, but man, that's one of the things that Peyton did so well in that season was he extended drives by, on 3rd and 4, seeing I can just go inside zone here and move the chains.
Yep.
And that's the type of thing that I think kept Vic Fangio up at night deciding between these two guys. I think Teddy Bridgewater gets this team into the right play more often.
And you know what Drew Lock said? His biggest step in the past year has been pre-snap identification and checks. If he continues to do that behind Teddy Bridgewater, then that's his path to becoming a starter one day. So great points, Ryan. Next one from Mrs. Quill. I saw Warren Sharp's tweet yesterday that Teddy faced the number one toughest schedule last year as far as pass defenses, and this year is faced the easiest. Do you think Teddy has a legitimate shot to have his best season yet? More importantly, how good do you think he has to be in order to keep his job and get Denver to the playoffs? Cheers. 2 questions. Yes, I think he's going to have a career year this year if he stays healthy. Touch wood. The second one, I disagreed with how high Tim put the bar yesterday. He said if Teddy throws 35 touchdowns and 5 interceptions and the Broncos don't make the playoffs, he's not going to be back. If he does anywhere close to that, Ryan, I think if he's at 3-1 touchdowns to interception, he's probably going to be back next year. However, there may be a rookie in here as well to compete with him, but he'll be back next year.
I don't think there's anything he can do. I mean, in a realistic world, I don't think there's anything he can do to be the Broncos starting quarterback next year.
Wow. So 30-10. The Broncos.
I said realistic. That's double his best season ever.
Okay. That's fair.
I think realistic career year for him would be like 22 and 10.
Okay.
And I don't think that's enough.
And what's crazy is that's the best quarterback season since 2014.
I know.
And you would say bye-bye.
Yeah, I would.
You know, and Ryan, this is a big conversation. We'll probably have it next week, just about exactly what to expect and what Teddy needs to do. So I think it's a great question, Mrs. Quill. Next one from Bronco Oiler. Public service announcement. Teddy Bridgewater is not a bum. This guy was a first-round pick who was an excellent leader, beloved by his teammates, and a rising up-and-comer who took the team to the playoffs and made the Pro Bowl his second year as a wild card in the division with Aaron Rodgers. Before he got injured, the narrative on him was that he was a promising young quarterback. Then he completely defied the odds by coming back from a horrific injury, went undefeated with impressive stats in relief of Drew Brees, and then had a mediocre season on a Carolina team with unproven coaching and a far less talented group of offensive players around him. And he's only started 49 games. I really urge Teddy skeptics to watch his 2019 Saints film to see that you can still have an exciting offense with Teddy under center and that he can win football games. In fact, if you want to see more great offense led by a quarterback with below average arm strength, check out the 2012 to 2014 Broncos.
You lost me there.
I love the optimism, though. Let's go. 2013 Broncos coming your way.
I do love the optimism. There's just one massive difference there. One of those is a first ballot Hall of Famer, top 5 quarterback of all time, who has very, very, very few similarities to Teddy Bridgewater.
LDJ says, first off, congratulations to Teddy. You got the keys to this amazing Ferrari, and I take pride in you being Denver's first starting black quarterback since Denver did it with Marlon Briscoe in the 1960s. I guess my question for you all is simple. It's 2 things. Number 1, if you weren't going to give Drew the job, why didn't you send Drew to Detroit and get Matthew Stafford? And lastly, well, really quick, we'll touch on that.
Because you had to trade 2 first-round picks, and the Broncos were offering like 2 seconds.
That's exactly why. And lastly, how can I watch Tim Jenkins break down film? Spoke on the pod yesterday and expected a higher ceiling for Teddy than Case Keenum. Isn't it the same handicap? The fear to push the ball down the field, given our weapons?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you can find all of Tim's stuff at All Things QB right here on YouTube. Gosh. I do. I'm having like bad flashbacks to when teams just started packing the box against Case Keenum. Phillip Lindsay couldn't run the ball anymore because they were just blasting him behind the line of scrimmage, and the offense lost all of its dynamic ability. I will say, back then it was DT, Emmanuel, and who's the tight end? Jeff Hireman.
Yes. Big play Jeff.
Yep. Okay. And then you had a rookie, Phillip Lindsay, as your starting running back.
Yep. Royce Freeman.
You had a Garrett Bowles in his worst of times.
Devontae Booker.
So the team is better. A lot better around him. And Teddy can push the ball down the field.
Yeah.
Now, he's not going to throw it, 50 yards off his back foot, but he manipulates the pocket well. He can step up and deliver one when it's open.
Also, big difference between Case and Teddy. Teddy, first-round pick that has not disappointed outside of the injury. He's been fine in that respect, not a total bust. Case Keenum, undrafted guy who had one great stretch. So very different guys.
All right, this one's from Chris in Denver. It's a long one, so let's try and burn through it. There's a lot of conversation about what could have been in regards to Locke. Are we forgetting that he just lost a fair quarterback competition to Teddy Bridgewater? Well, first of all, a lot of people don't think it was fair.
Right.
So that's one thing they're upset with. Teddy's not a bum. He's a no BS NFL quarterback. But why would you think the franchise leap is there for Drew if you can't decisively beat Teddy in year 3? The Drew people are going to say, yeah, but Teddy can't decisively beat Drew in year whatever he is, 8. So they keep seeing Josh Allen as the comp, and I have a feeling this exception will cost a lot of coaches and GMs down the line. But ignoring the obvious discrepancies in physical talent between the two in year 2, before Diggs, Allen had an 11-game stretch where he threw for 60% completions, 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 3 INTs. Nothing spectacular, but a sustained stretch of quality play that Locke has not shown. That's pretty spectacular if you ask me.
I agree.
The preseason games were great, but reading the practice reports and watching the preseasons, it seems that both quarterbacks weren't facing anything close to resembling a Sunday caliber NFL defense. It feels like people are acting like they're choosing to bench Trevor Lawrence or something. Drew was given a fair shot. He had more familiarity with the coaches and receivers, and he started the first preseason game. He had taken over that week in practice. Had he taken over and practiced that week and just balled out, he's the starter. But he didn't. It was more back and forth all week. Teddy won fair and square. Moreover, why is this framed like it was a Vic decision? Peyton traded up for Bridgewater, traded for him to get him here, and according to Michael Silver, Peyton's comfort with Teddy allowed him to draft Surtain. This is why us maniacs were so apoplectic about not going into camp with a round 1 quarterback or Aaron Rodgers. Finally, as much as I just buried the guy, it's not a hate thing about Drew. He approached this situation as well as he could. He worked at it and did everything possible to be a successful NFL starting quarterback. Drew can look himself in the mirror knowing he did everything in his power to be a successful NFL starter. And it goes on and on and on for a while. He said, sorry for the length, but this conversation is reaching Tebow levels of misrepresentation. Keep up the great work.
Well, Chris in Denver, I think you have great points all the way around, just in terms of who Teddy is and Drew as well. And I think you laid it out there very well. And what was very interesting, one of the things Vic said, he didn't talk to John Elway in this whole process. George Payton talked to John, who relayed his feelings. Maybe John was the guy pulling for Vic the hardest, and John's the most removed from it, so maybe it was a little easier to move away from Drew because of that.
Yeah, I mean, the question of why is this being framed as why is this a Vic decision starts as simply as George Payton said it was a Vic decision.
Right. And
moves on beyond that to some of the sources and different reporting there's been out there, which is that there was some internal struggle.
Right. Yep. And I agree. Drew did have a chance to win it. But we'll move on to the next one from Broncoholic 711. Hey, guys. It's been a while for me. Took a break over the summer to let the quarterback competition, all the trade rumors play out. Have a quick fantasy question for you. Speaking of fantasy, we got a show going live today, all about fantasy football at 5 p.m., so make sure you tune in. This question may be better for that, but we'll hit it anyways. Have a quick fantasy question. I'm in a full PPR league, and we are doing one keeper this year, and the cost is the pick in the round before they were drafted last year. So I've narrowed it down to my choice of the following 3 options. Jonathan Taylor cost a 4th round pick. Jerry Jeudy cost an 11th round pick. Or George Kittle cost a 2nd round pick. Which would you guys go with?
Jerry,
easily. Ryan, I'm in a league. I got him in the 7th round. I was over the moon. And I avoid Broncos players the past 7 years, and I was over the moon by that, so I'd go Jerry. He says, excited for the season with you guys and really looking forward to see this defense in a full game. Let's go, Broncos.
Yep. I mean, Jerry's going to pop off. Just watch. Yep. From Bonk Oilers, repost from yesterday here. I remember at some point in 2019, there was some talk about Vic Fangio not quite gelling with the players and some reports of a bit of a rift. I'm not sure there was anything to those, but I'm kind of curious as to what you guys think or know of the players' feelings towards Fangio. You don't really hear the players say much about him, and I even recall K-Jack in an interview talking about his experience with past coaches. I don't think he said a word about Vic. Even on a couple of videos of him mic'd up on the team on the team site, some of his interaction with the players seem kind of awkward. I know he has a lot of respect as a defensive mind, but do players feel the same way about him as a head coach?
Isn't he Uncle Vic? And kind of that role? And so not best friend. I mean, he's not a Kyle Shanahan.
No.
More so of an uncle.
Yeah. I think there's respect for him there.
Yep.
But it's not like he's not like beloved, I wouldn't
Right.
say, in the locker room.
Exactly. Jersey Broncos says, boys, I sadly find myself with a familiar feeling. I had the same gut reaction to the moves for Case Keenum and Joe Flacco. I had the same feeling when we traded for Teddy Bridgewater. I'm tired of being sold on players that clearly won't be our quarterback long term. If Drew Lock can't beat out an average to below average quarterback in Teddy, then he probably isn't the guy long term either. I was very high on Justin and Mac Jones, but Teddy apparently has more promise than those guys too. I just don't see it. I'm not even sure I can look forward to watching the college season for a future quarterback. Instead, I should probably keep an eye out for the next quarterback that gets dropped by another team who will be added to our famous quarterback merry-go-round. That's a good one. I have to admit, I'm not too excited for the offense this year, but I hope Teddy proves me wrong. I really do. I hope Teddy balls out, and I have to write a Teddy apology comment in the future. I hope so too. Something I am looking forward to is the impromptu mini honeymoon to Denver's home opener. We
Nice.
miss getting to see the Broncos beat my wife's Jets in person last year, and we can't wait to visit the DNVR bar. Keep up the awesome work, guys. Go Broncos. Much love from Jersey, and we can't wait to see you at the bar.
Can't wait to see you at the bar and at the DNVR tailgate before the game. Keep an eye out for more details
Can't
on
wait
that.
for details.
See, this is like, and again, I get it. I get why everyone's being dramatic. This is dramatic. Like, George Paton one time decided that he preferred Pat Surtain and Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock over Mac Jones or Justin Fields. You can't place all of the decisions that preceded him also onto his shoulders either. Finding a quarterback is not easy. Sometimes you are going to take a risk you shouldn't have. Sometimes you're going to not take a risk that you should have. Time will tell if that's the deal with Justin Fields and Mac Jones. But don't put John Elway's decisions on George Paton.
Ryan, I was told very early in the George Paton era by a very good source that George Paton is going to take a step back and just kind of watch things this year. And I lost sight of that when talking about quarterbacks in the draft because that would have been a big move. And so why I say that is I don't think passing on these quarterbacks is a sign of how George Paton feels about the quarterback position, even with his weird comments a few weeks ago. I think it was this. He's taken a step back, and what have we seen? He's taken a big step. He hasn't fired anyone, and so that's something that I think everyone needs to keep in the back of their heads is big moves weren't going to come this year, next year.
Yeah, I will say that's a bad approach if you really liked one of Justin Fields or Mac Jones.
Agree.
I just don't think you did.
Yep, and that's okay.
Yes.
But have that be the reason.
Yes. All right, guys, before we move on, want to let you know that AEG Presents is bringing Bert Kreischer live at Red Rocks. I was at Red Rocks last night.
Oh, my gosh.
The absolute best. Nathaniel Rateliff put on an amazing show.
That's your guy.
Yeah, he is one of my guys, and it was super, super awesome. Shout out to Adam Matas for hooking it up with the tickets. But Bert Kreischer will be at Red Rocks Wednesday, September 8th, and he's going to be joined by the Narc.
Narc Mormon.
Mark Normand is going to be there with him, and it's time to get your tickets now. All you got to do is download the Red Rocks app before you visit, which you honestly should do because you can purchase tickets to your favorite show and you can get drinks. Like pre-ordered on the app. Sounds amazing to me. My seats yesterday were right next to one of the bars, so I didn't have to worry about it. But Bert Kreischer is going to put on an awesome show. He's going to have everyone in stitches. So make sure you check him out. Make sure you download that Red Rocks app to get your tickets to the show on September 8th.
And a lot of people make a stop at Solace Meds before they go up to Red Rocks, and it's the best place to go, especially with the deals that they've got going on in August. They have Dixie Elixirs 2 for $30, Spectra 20% off, Ripple 25% off, and Silver Shelf Flower 15% off. They also have Connoisseur Shelf Concentrates 15% off, and if you use the code DNVR20, you get 20% off on top of those deals, and use that code and you'll get a free Solace Bar or King Cone at any location when you go. They have 4 convenient Colorado locations, 1 off Broadway, 1 in Fort Collins, 1 in Wheat Ridge, and 1 just blocks away from the DNVR bar. So smash that code DNVR20 on their website too, solacemeds.com. That's SOLACE meds.com.
One thing I did before I hit up Red Rocks yesterday is got some Strava Craft coffee in the system. You know, get that little energy boost before you have to go on a hike to go to Red Rocks, by the way. One of the things you forget until you get there.
Yes.
I actually just walked from the bottom of the parking lot to the top of the parking lot to hit a porta potty, and I was like, oh God, I'm so out of shape. I forgot that you just have to go on a hike to get into the...
It's an all-in-one experience.
Arena. What would you call it? The amphitheater.
Yes.
But anyways, got to get some Strava Craft coffee to have that energy. And also you can do it without getting the jitters. And there's all sorts of other benefits from the CBD infused coffee. It'll help you with migraines. It can help you with joint pain, all sorts of different stuff. So check them out and use the code DNVR25 when you do to get 25% off your first order.
You've heard of 30 for 30s, right, Ryan?
Yes.
We've got 20 and 20. 20 comments, 20 minutes. Let's go, baby. First one from Melbourne Bronco. Hi, guys. 4th attempt. I feel like DNVR members are Drew Lock replaced by Super Chat Teddy. No.
Well, Super Chat Teddy got benched today. So.
Anyways, may happen this season. I look forward to Teddy exceeding expectations. A floor is for walking on. A ceiling keeps the rain out. Teddy is going to be awesome. He will throw more touchdowns than ever, and his quarterback rating will be the highest. Why? Because this team will fly. And Zach Trevor Simeon jersey on sale for $11 on the Broncos website. You can buy one for every day of the week. You guys have done an excellent job this preseason. Bring on the Giants. Cheers. Thank you, Melbourne Bronco.
Maybe we get that like framed up here.
Oh, yeah. I'd love it.
Maybe Trev will sign it. Where is he again? Oh, he's in
New Orleans. Yes, Jameis.
Yeah, he blew a bet for me the other night. From Kirk Smith, 44, Sunday, September 12th, Broncos down 3 on the road to the Giants, and the Giants have the ball coming back from the 2-minute warning in field goal territory. The Giants run on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, and the clock keeps ticking down. Tick, tick, tick. Why isn't Fangio using any of his timeouts, Mark Schler says, baffled in the booth. The clock hits 0. The Broncos prep their special teams unit for the field goal try, and Vic is confused as Joe Judge is meeting him to shake his hand. Vic finally realized it was the 4th quarter and once again forgot to have any time awareness during a game. At this moment, Broncos realized that the QB battle meant nothing, that our biggest problem was our coach all along.
That's cruel, man. But a lot of people are questioning him in many ways right now.
Yeah, and
he's got to prove that.
It's all going to come down to wins and or losses.
Yep. Submarine Broncos has absolutely loved having Tim's insight on NFL offense and quarterback play on the show. Now I can't wait for the Giants. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. People pumped.
Good vibes today. Dan Burke, 4th time's the lucky time, right? Hey, guys. I guess so. A couple things I wanted to talk about that aren't getting much attention. One, the Broncos had 0 penalties against Seattle. That was really impressive considering they were playing with backups and rookies for the most part, and we're playing on the road in a loud, hostile environment.
Good point.
I feel like Vic doesn't get enough credit for having his team ready to play and disciplined.
It's looking better. It
Yes.
is.
And I've noticed that in this preseason, the refs have very much kept it in their pants, and by it, I mean the flag. I really hope they continue that.
Is a Manscaped read coming after that?
No,
okay.
no. But I really hope that's not just a preseason thing, because the preseason's already boring, and penalties make everything more boring. But I'm just hoping that they're just saying, hey, let's not throw as many flags this year.
Hoping for Garrett Bowles' sake as well.
Yes. 2, Kari Vincent Jr. has been playing really well for the last 2 games. One of my favorite plays was last week versus Minnesota, where it was 4th and 5, and Vincent came flying in and stopped the receiver 2 yards short of the first down. Very limited sample size and weak competition, but I know but PFF currently has him with an 81.1 coverage grade for the preseason. I know we always tend to overrate our players not clearing waivers, but a young guy with upside has legit 4.3 speed and has shown he can cover. I don't want to risk it with him. That's funny. What do y'all think? I forgot it was don't try to get this guy on the practice squad season.
All right. Yes, it is there.
You know who you really can't?
Who?
Jonathan Cooper, but they already said he made the team.
Yep. Don't try to slide him through. I think he makes it because of O.J. Mudia's injury. I think he makes the roster.
Fair enough.
Next one coming in from
Lucifer's Army.
Is worst case scenario Drew Lock gets traded, balls out, and becomes a franchise quarterback while Teddy B bring us to 9-8 or 8-9. Yeah, probably.
Wait, you also need to factor in the worst case scenario, Justin Fields wins Rookie of the Year and Mac Jones wins the
MVP.
Super Bowl.
Right. He says also, can someone explain 2013 Missouri Teddy and why he balled out the year with 31 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 3,900 yards? I think he's got to mean Drew.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I got for you, it's the only season in his college or pro career that he was in the 2nd year of an offense.
And he's there this year, too. We won't talk about that, though.
Yeah.
Next one from Lionel Hutz, attorney at law. Gentlemen, I have many questions, but I'll keep this one just for today. For RK, you said if Teddy was named starter, you would have even more questions as to why the plan was at quarterback, or what the plan was at quarterback over the last 6 months. You've said that inside the front office, people have hinted Elway didn't want to have a plan, or didn't have a plan at quarterback. Looking back, do you think that was Peyton's plan, or what is the future plan?
Yeah, really good question, and it does leave a lot of questions, as to what was the plan. I think the plan was to sit back for a year, like you mentioned. And it's a dangerous plan because there's a lot of talent in this draft. I also think the plan was to trade for Matt Stafford, and then the plan was to trade for Deshaun Watson, and then the plan was to trade for Aaron Rodgers. None of those things obviously came through. So all of those things like push back the need to draft a quarterback, and I think by the time they got there, they just felt like it would be a rushed decision. They weren't sold.
And unfortunately, Drew was their plan E this offseason. Teddy was their plan D. And you saw him just edge out plan E.
Yeah. It's questionable. Like, if Justin Fields and Mac Jones go out there and ball out this year, every ounce of criticism that will be hurled at George Payton will be warranted.
And he won't be able to live it down until he gets a better quarterback than those guys.
Right. I was going to say, not just a quarterback, a better quarterback.
Yep. True.
Yeah.
Exactly. True Champ Fan 24. My peoples love the coverage despite what some YouTube commenters say. I was watching some other Broncos content, and in the video, the guy is explaining why the Broncos will finish last in the AFC West, and his argument for the Raiders finishing higher than Denver was, and I quote, Henry Ruggs is fast.
Good God.
That was it. So there you have it, guys. Denver sucks because Henry Ruggs is fast. Sorry, KJ. Also, just ordered a Pat Surtain jersey.
I don't know why you guys do this to yourselves.
Right.
So many people
torture.
come in the comments complaining about terrible coverage elsewhere. I'm like, why do you even watch it?
Von Miller's Chicken Farm. Howdy, gents. We know a second rounder is worth around $16 million. If there were a no trade deadline and this type of deal was allowed to happen, what would a single win in the season be worth? If you were the GM of the Broncos and they say one win, and they sat one win away in Week 18, would you pay the price to guarantee playoffs after the drought we've been in? Thanks for the exercise in futility, and thanks for the pod as always.
No.
No?
Well, I mean, so the price is $16 million, then yes. Like, money means nothing to anyone.
Right.
But if the price was like a second rounder.
Oh, I agree. If it's cash, you do it.
Yeah.
Because you know what's... I mean, the worst place to be is just missing the playoffs.
It'll pay for itself in the tickets that you sell to the first game.
It's very true.
And all the gear or whatever. But
all those T-Sim jerseys flying off the shelves.
but yeah, I mean, if it's like if you had to trade a second round pick to guarantee a win to be the last playoff team,
nope.
When you're not
bounced anyways.
You're probably gonna get bounced. I mean, your best case scenario is like you face the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I mean, again, you can dream here, but you'd wish you had that second round pick back when you didn't win the Super Bowl.
They would say dream on.
Yeah.
Broncos only says, I think the local fan base was disproportionately for Locke, but overall fans are okay with the decision. Locke threw one 80-yard touchdown pass in a preseason game, and the vocal contingent went nuts for it.
As they should. When's the last time we saw an 80-yard? Oh, other than from Drew Lock last year, when's the last time we saw an 80-yard touchdown pass?
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I've truly subscribed to the idea that Vic Fangio prefers a long touchdown drive over an 80-yard touchdown pass.
Yep. Patches112 says, hey guys, first-time commenter, long-time listener. I'll get straight to my question. Do you think the continued safe decisions and options will make this team a mediocre team over the long run? It seems like if the trend continues, it could lead to the long-term being middle of the road, with some years where they make the playoffs and others where they don't. I think to an extent it will, since the reach next level, you often need to take a leap and push the boundaries. Curious on your thoughts. Thanks for the fantastic coverage. I live out of the state, so it's nice to have a source like you guys to understand what's going on.
I think the biggest thing here is that it's not about, like, you can't already label George Payton as a conservative guy just because he made one conservative choice. Like, a lot of people are projecting John Elway's decisions onto George Payton right now. So, yes, if you continue to make safe decision after safe decision after safe decision, your best case scenario is sneaking into the playoffs. Eventually, you have to take a risk. That doesn't mean you have to only take risks all the time, because that'll bite you too. It's like sports betting. Like, yeah, once in a while, you have a parlay you feel really confident about, and you hit it. If you're just making parlays all the time, you will lose all your money.
I know that. Yes, it's very true. And also, Ryan, we will stop having this discussion when they find a quarterback, because what other positions are there major risks with? Nothing's anywhere close to a quarterback. So what this boils down to is, when are they getting a quarterback?
Yeah, and there's no clear answer to that. Next one's from the Chad. With Teddy winning the job, we are now 3 to 4 years away from a viable long-term solution. See, what does that? I mean, Drew, I guess, could have been the viable long-term solution, but I don't think he starting brings you any closer to that unless he pans out, which, again, was going to be a big leap of faith.
Here's where you're 3 or 4 years away is if you draft a rookie quarterback this year in the first round and find out he is trash. That's when you're 3 or 4 years away. Ryan, the Broncos still have some hopes for Aaron Rodgers next year. That's not a 3 or 4 year solution.
No, it's not. He goes on to say Teddy will go about 500 this year. We will trade up for a quarterback who will need some development time for a few years. As such, the wait for a long-term answer at quarterback continues. Even if we trade for Aaron Rodgers, he says that'll just be a flash in the pan for a couple of seasons before we're in the same spot again. Just trying to get pumped on more waiting. I was hoping for Drew, and the slim chance that he was the wait for the guy was over.
Really quick, the chat. How long do the Chargers have to wait when they drafted Justin Herbert to feel like they had the guy?
Like all they had to wait for was their doctor to stab Tyrod Taylor in the lung.
You're right. Just a couple of months for that to happen.
Yeah, they didn't have to wait very long at all before they felt like they had the answer.
Next one is, oh my goodness, it is a very long one from Onion Booty Bronco. He says, hey, gents, at your recommendation, I'm reposting this. Allow me to tell you a story.
Should we?
Do we get into story time?
It's probably going to be the last comment if we do.
He says, way back in the day during his sophomore year of college, Onion Booty found himself in a quarterback competition very similar to one Drew Lock finds himself in today, albeit mine took place in a forgettable city in a lowly ranks of Division III. Onion Booty was in the high upside player. His teammates were pulling for him. The competitor was only 1 year older, a junior. He was steady and, I'll admit it, demonstrated better control of the offense. This was part when I tell you a silly fact about our head coach. This was a man who would cry, dare I say weep, before games as a means to motivate us. It did not. You could catch him yelling inspirational things at us like, no tight beep holes, as we marched out of the locker room. Ultimately, coach decided to forego the Booty in favor of the wily veteran. Onion Booty was the saddest boy you had ever seen. He had let down all of his compatriots. His career was over. With a heavy heart, Onion Booty congratulated his competitor and went about his business as a professional. This is where our hero's journey takes a turn for the better. It was the first snap of the first game, a home game. Onion Booty stood on the sideline feeling like a sorry sack of rotten onions. He watched as his competitor approached the line of scrimmage and placed his hands under the center's rumpus. There was supposed to be an Onion Booty's hand under the rumpus. Hut, hut, hike, his competitor said. And then the ball was snapped. The competitor dropped back. He cocked his arm to the sideline and let it fly to his receiver running a 6-yard out route. A beautiful spiral that landed softly in the white mittens of the defender, breaking on the ball with eager anticipation, much like Patrick Surtain. The defender advanced the ball 30 yards into the end zone. Coach Crybaby put Onion Booty in the game 2 drives later, and the rest is history. Onion Booty would go on to be a 3-year starter, and the team would go on still to lose many games, but not that year. That year, Onion Booty would lead the team to a winning record and an overtime victory against our arch rival. On 4th down of that overtime goal, he would huck the ball down the sideline for a 40-yard walk-off touchdown. Had he been wiser, Onion Booty would have retired right then and there, for it only got worse for himself and the team in the years to come. But I digress. The moral of this story: quit while you're ahead. Just kidding. The moral where it concerns Vic Fangio is that during the preseason, looks can be deceiving. While Teddy Bridgewater is not one of these, he has all of the traits of a coach's pet. Don't fall too hard, Vic. The mirage will fade. As for Drew, if you're not named the starter, all the pressure is off you. This can be a blessing in disguise. Just wait in the wings for Teddy to throw that first pick 6. Your time may come sooner than you think. Love, Onion Booty. That was a heck of a story, Onion.
It was a story. Next one's from Casper. Fellas, going off of what Tim said on the last show, I'll give you this. Would you rather A, get Teddy Bridgewater and Pat Surtain, or B, you get Mac Jones and an extra first in 2022?
You know I'm going. Give me Mac Jones, baby.
Why is there an extra first?
Because you traded back, I'm assuming, and a team traded up.
So you traded 10 to go back to, what, 13?
Yeah.
Because the Patriots got him at 14? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Or you... Yeah, because if the Patriots are trading up, they're getting...
Or was it 9? The Broncos had 9 or 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Mac Jones.
There we go. Love to hear you say that, Ryan. Next one coming in from Free Philip Lindsay. It's so interesting to me that the fan base that hated Drew and were maybe even 50% or more of the fan base after last season said, we can't have a quarterback throwing picks like that. He'll never be the guy. I've seen 20 games, and now like 80% crazy in love with him, especially when most of that was true at the end of last season. It's still true now, except except Drew have shown improvement in the offseason. I think a lot of people latched on extremely hard to thinking Drew would either be great and succeed this year or give us a better chance at a high draft pick than Teddy. And once people become so emotionally attached to wanting just one specific outcome, it's very bad when that actually doesn't happen. This pod has talked about a lot about value in being a winning team, the value in changing culture, the value in good quarterback play bolstering the development of the team. Almost no one complaining about Teddy and so gung-ho over Drew is even discussing how these benefits of the franchise long-term weigh against the benefits of Drew potentially being the guy. Those are extremely important discussions, completely missing where we reduce our perception of this discussion and come completely down to basically Teddy helps you win games now. Drew has more upside and should play for the future of this franchise. And Ryan, it gets to just what we were talking about, what you said earlier, just about how revisionist history has changed.
Yeah, and I loved his point there because I was talking to a couple of former players today who mentioned that. Like, the Broncos going 9-8 this year would be very valuable for them internally. Now, yeah, does it help you get a better draft pick? No. Does it help you win a Super Bowl this year? No. But you have to start winning at some point. And, heck, if Aaron Rodgers were to come here next year, the reversal that he would have to do on the culture if the Broncos went 4-13 this year would be huge. If they're 9-8 and they're all moving in the right direction, it's a lot easier for him to walk in here and say, hey, this is how we do things. Looks like you guys are starting on the right path. We need to do this, that, and the other thing to get from 9 to 15.
Tim Tebow. He brought him from being the basement team to being that middling team, making the playoffs, winning culture, excitement, and then Peyton Manning took him to the place where it had to be. The next one coming in from Bronco NSF. It confuses me when fans say that the staff and organization didn't want Drew to succeed or didn't give him a fair chance. Nothing is more valuable to a team than a franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. Nothing. The sad reality is Drew just didn't turn into the guy everyone wanted him to be. If the Broncos believed he could be more of the guy, he'd be the starter. They don't, and he isn't. Nobody in the world wanted Locke to be the next big thing more than the Broncos. Sorry to burst your bubble, Locke zealots, but you don't see something that's experienced NFL executives don't. Sometimes draft picks just don't work out, and eventually you have to accept reality.
I think that's an oversimplification of where Drew's at right now. I just don't think the Broncos had the luxury of waiting to find out if he could do that again. I shouldn't even say the Broncos. I don't think that Vic Fangio had the luxury of waiting to find out and seeing if he could do it again. It would have been great to see what Drew Lock could have done, second year in the offense, all of those things. Maybe like the story of Onion Booty, he gets that chance and he shines and then retires right after that. But no.
Words of wisdom from Onion Booty to end this pod.
Absolutely. And to end the pod also, I want to tell you about our friends over at MSU Denver Online. MSUdenver.edu/online is where you can go to scope out all they have to offer. And remember, MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So there you go. That is how you go down there. Check them out. MSUdenver.edu/online. We almost got to every comment. We knocked out a lot of them, so we'll get the rest of them tomorrow. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later.